Hello, Heath School families. How are you? I am sending this message and these resources to you after some difficult conversations we've been having in our middle school with our teachers, students, and quite a few families. Um, while middle school is, and I truly believe this, it is a time in a student's life when we fully expect kids to try new things and make mistakes big and small. We want to create the conditions here at school where that can happen, and that when these mistakes, big and small, are made, that kids really do feel supported. They feel supported as people, they feel supported as humans, young people, and they feel supported in growing. And so we are working really hard to create the conditions under which all of those things can happen. We have recognized that coming back from the global pandemic and back into school fully has created some of the conditions where students are feeling disconnected and connected at the same time. They are really struggling, sometimes really struggling, sometimes struggling successfully to reconnect in a way that feels just right to them. A lot of them have said goodbye to loved ones because of illness. COVID has literally taken loved ones. A lot of our students have dealt with isolation, death, the loss of friendships, growing up and maturing in a time when no one was around to help them other than their families, which, as we all know, with middle schoolers can be like, I don't want your help, I can do it on my own. They have had to have, therapy on Zoom, if they have therapy at all, doctor's appointments via Zoom. I mean, things have just been really hard for our middle schoolers, and I'm very sympathetic. I think that some of the things that our middle schoolers have been trying out recently have not been things that they're excited about or proud about. Two things in particular that have come to our attention is the use of racist language and anti-Semitic language. And then this really pervasive problem that we're unearthing around body shaming and sexual harassment. As a school principal, I have found that this has been really disheartening. And while I have no illusion that this place is perfect. In fact, I work very hard to message both to families and to kids and to staff that perfection is not actually the goal. The goal, again, is to create the conditions under which people can be successful, people can fail, people can be authentic in a space where they're going to get support and love and help and nurturing and education, so that those successes and failures and authentic moments can become these core beliefs that guide them on a really amazing journey into adulthood, where these kids are just successful beyond even what they can imagine and envision for themselves. And so a part of recognizing that we are not a perfect place is making peace with the understanding that children explore all kinds of things. And the things they explore are closely tied to things that as adults we find abhorrent. The exploration and the use of racist language has been going on in our middle school with middle schoolers. I'm sure it dips down much younger than that too, which is why I'm trying to recreate or create resources that any parent can use. But right now I'm talking directly to middle school families. Language especially, trying out language that we know is problematic, is hurtful, is unacceptable, right here in the school, before school, after school, during sports, before school, after school, on the way home, riding bikes around the neighborhood, on the bus, here in our lunchroom, in the hallways. So really exploring some of that language and using it in a way that scares other kids. And it's, I think, scary and taboo when the kids that are using it, right? And so it's our job to do the education so that kids understand the historic use behind language, and I do name the language later on in this slide deck, understand its use, its implications, and the history, so that we have a smarter group of kids who are able to have these portable skills and understandings of racist and anti-Semitic language. And then create the conditions where the use of that language in their lives is, right, unthinkable, and that they're armed with a deeper understanding of why it should be unthinkable and unusable. Also, we're talking with kids, older kids, about body shaming and sexual harassment. And through some very complicated conversations with students here in the school, we have come to understand that in some circles it's quite common to use language that body shames, that harasses openly, silently, quietly, directly, all the ways it's happening here in the building. Again, before school, after school, in the hallways. I don't think kids feel very good about this. I know that the kids who have become the target of this language do not feel good about this. In fact, they're feeling big shame, anger, frustration, irritation. They are feeling really big red feelings, right? Anger. Again, who's to blame? Is the school to blame? Am I to blame? Are the students to blame? Who's to blame? Are the parents to blame? I think that when you are the target of this language, it's really overwhelming. I think that the kids and the conditions under which kids are trying out body shaming language or sexual harassing language, I don't think they're feeling very good either. I think they know that this isn't the right way to behave, but at the same time, they're taking these risks and they're having these conversations and they're trying out this language. And it is, as a school community, our responsibility to set firm limits, to help them understand why we don't use that language, and then to create the conditions under which we can repair these relationships, repair the culture in our school, and help those who have been targets of this language to feel like somebody has made amends to them. And so that's what we're working on here at the school. And as parents, you have a right to know that those are the things that we're working on here. Now, with families, or with kids rather, with our students, we are engaging them in complex conversations. They are part of restorative circles, and restorative circles are spaces where we can sit together and really unpack this. We are looking at the resources, some of the resources that I have here for you. Now, I want to say that the resources we'll be sharing with kids are age-appropriate and developmentally appropriate resources. A lot of times, though, what will be guiding questions and open conversations and dialogue with kids, so that we can have a sense of restoring a culture or creating a culture where these kinds of behaviors are, again, unthinkable. Now, in this slide deck, you will have access to all kinds of resources. I put them together. I hunted them down. These are things that I have found really compelling. These are things that other people that I work with really love. And in these resources, there are videos, and some of the videos do have some of this language that we're talking about right there, front and center. And as adults, we need to be able to understand really deeply what is happening and the language that's being used. And so I ask that when you look at these resources that you decide for yourself, is this appropriate for my child? Is this something I watch on my own? Because children can't just be told to do this. We have to, as the adults, take on the responsibility of becoming smarter about these issues ourselves. And so that's why these resources in this slide deck are intended just for adults. And then, of course, you as parents can decide what to do with them next. Again, I want to say that we are not perfect, but to do nothing creates the conditions that sow a kind of imperfection that's not tolerable. I don't want to be perfect. I just want to be a space where we can do this work collaboratively and kind of feel good about moving forward together and honoring all the different perspectives, voices, and people in the school. It is so important that everybody have an opportunity to come to this school every single day and feel absolutely safe. And right now, we simply don't have that. And until we do, we here at the school are going to be pretty relentless making that happen. Just want to say that again. We are going to be pretty relentless about making that happen. It might not happen in my tenure or in my lifetime, but while we're here and we have the time and the space and the resources, we're going to try. And for that, I definitely appreciate your help, your feedback, your connection, and, together we can make something pretty amazing happen. I appreciate that. Thank you.